Hey there, this is Adam Starks again, here to read another excerpt. This one's from chapter 1, and this is, I titled this California Born. Pretty obvious. Was born in Burbank, California, August 26, 1980, and this was an interesting time. I spent about the first 5 or 6 years of my life out there, and before we moved to Virginia, things were already sort of falling apart for my mother. Of course, being the youngster I was, I wouldn't have recognized it at the time. But one of the things that still eludes me to this day is knowing my father, and so I never had contact with him or any memorable contact with him. And so I'll read you a couple of excerpts from that, and then I'll do a little bit of a spiel about fatherhood. My father was absent from the get-go. I don't have his side of the story since I never met the man, so I can't offer a guess as to why he chose to abandon me. The blank line where my father's name should be on my birth certificate represents the same void I still feel today. I cannot help but think that life would have been so much easier if I had the ability to ask him for advice. Of course, that assumes he would have been stable enough to provide sound guidance. Although I do not know his side of the story, I always considered him a coward for escaping his responsibility. All right, and that's one section. Moving on to another section, more positive section. Um, the redeeming memories from my early childhood involved my sister and her father, Caesar. Although we didn't live together, my sister always seemed to be by my side. She even nicknamed me Chachi after the Happy Days character. To this day, I have no idea why, but the name stuck in my head during my stint in California. As for Caesar, I couldn't have wished for a better father figure in my life. Our travels together granted me the fatherly insight my little inquisitive mind needed at the time. Whether it was my wonderment as to why the moon was following our car, or pondering why those basketball looking globes were stuck on their electric lines, Caesar always had a straightforward viewpoint, typically followed up with an "oh," and I kept humming the tune on the radio or whatever mom had stuck in my head. I read those two very differing viewpoints on fatherhood, just because you don't have to birth a child or be there at the birth to be a father. Um, my wife and I have been married almost 13 years now, and we have three of our own children. And I am an absolute proud father, and I love most of the moments. And I say most because it is hard sometimes. It is one of the most challenging yet rewarding things a man can do. And I want to tell you fellas out there, if you have a child or if you're getting ready to have a child, don't skirt that responsibility. The statistics, I mean, the odds are stacked against them, that child, if the father is not there. And that's not me speaking. I mean, this is science. And I can tell you uh, by living it that it is much harder. So I say embrace your divine masculinity and take on that task, because it is rewarding, and it is what you were meant to do. If you have a child in your life, then you are meant to raise it. And I strongly encourage you to stand up and take on that responsibility. Thank you.